Good afternoon to the One Tech team. Do you know that there exists a world of small clouds of utter delight, floating multicolored strands of spun sugar, all wrapped around a stick or served in a bag? What am I talking about? Well, every year on the 7th of December, it is International Cotton Candy or Candy Floss Day. Oh, yes. So, if you want to get your sugar high, I think today is the right day to head over to any flea market or any candy shop and get yourself this airy spun sugar treat that can just make you happy for that moment. Well, what's it going to do to your summer body that you've worked for? Do not hold me responsible for that. Welcome, everyone. It's such a great pleasure to welcome you to the One Tech Team end of year town hall address. You and I have traveled through this year so well. We even went to Sun City together to enjoy some time where we planned and came back stronger as One Tech Team. But Dayan, we still need that one salary. But hey, that's a conversation for another trip to Sun City. Welcome, everyone. And then on top of everything, I just want to make sure that everyone is here, logged in, and ready for an amazing session. So let's start first by just giving you a few house rules and how this program is going to work. You will be able to ask any questions that you'd like to ask. Please do use the side on the chat from the platform. Let me show you just a few little things. When you are on the platform, you'll see obviously the main screen on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, this is how you can communicate with us. You can put your chat right there. And if you have a question, all you need to do is say question and then put the question right there. There are some comments already, as we can see. Lottie say, hi, MJ. Shana says, hi there. Hashtag One Tech Team, and welcome to our end of year town hall. Let's hear from where you are from. Hop on and say hi. Robert, my favorite. Bresla, Robert is also saying hi with a smiley face. We've also got Emmanuel saying from the DRC. Oh, bonjour to you right there. And then we've got Shaman, who also says all the way from Vodacom, South Africa. I'm sure he's still celebrating with Amakluk because Dayan and I celebrated with Amakluk, the hackathon winners, the whole night. Okay. And then Joyce also says hello. James Wanjora also says hi, all the way from Kenya. Craig also says hi. So please carry on just chatting with us right there. And then on top of that, we will also then be using more of the platform to actually engage you in some of our games. Let me just show you. If you are looking to upload a picture, because I'll show you the competition a little bit later, but if you're looking to upload it, you go to the lobby and you will be able to upload it right there. Very, very, very simple. All right. You just enter your names, you enter your details, and then you'd be able to actually go ahead and upload your picture. But the competition is a little bit different. So I'll explain the competition as we get there. So, but first up, let's just show you this, our agenda for today. So you can see our jam-packed agenda for this year-end town hall. We will have some competitions for you to walk away a winner, some retail vouchers that you can spend over the festive season, and we'll make sure that we announce any of the winners at the end. As you can see our program right there, we've got an address from Dayan, the leader of the One Tech Team, and then some of our leaders recorded some amazing videos, highlighting what the year looked like, and then we're going to speak all things hackathon with Mamelo Yani and L'Oreal before Barbara takes us through some of the organizational changes. I think that's where she's going to name me as honorary technology executive. But hey, let's wait for her to speak a little bit later. And then obviously we'll close off with the Q&A. Now that's where your questions are very important. Please send them through so that we can send you off to your festive season knowing all the answers that you need to start January on a high. All right. So speaking about competitions, well, you know what? We actually had a weekly competition that we ran on Workplace. And Shauna, she makes sure that everybody is engaged. And we've got our 2 weekly email competitions that the people have won. The first competition, we asked you to name 2 of the innovative ideas which are this year's hackathon has brought to the fore and name the team and country that showcased it. Well, we've got someone that definitely did it, and the name is Yasmin Ismail. Congratulations to you, Yasmin Ismail, for winning that first competition of the week, because you did identify Amagluk and the idea that they brought up. And then our second competition, now we also asked you that there was a women-only hackathon team. I know, I'm sure you saw it yesterday when we were singing, "Oh, the single ladies," but that team was so amazing. And we asked you, can you name them? And you definitely did. It was the Smart IT girls all the way from Mozambique. Bom dias to you. And the person that got it correct was all the way from our neighbors in Lesotho, Tuso Raleting. Congratulations to you. Now, speaking about today's competition, which involves the photo booth, here is what you need to do. I'm going to show you two pictures. Now, these two pictures are very iconic. They are sports related, yeah? And all I need you to do is try and replicate one of these pictures. Yeah? Can you? I don't mean take off your t-shirt, and knock someone out in your house and look at them like that. But if that's how passionate you are about walking away with one of our gifts, then you can definitely do that. But you don't have to have all the props. You can make some up. And hey, we're speaking about innovation later. Innovate and make this your own picture. So we've got Pele right there with the ball. You do what you do best. And then we've got obviously Cassius Clay right there, otherwise known as Muhammad Ali. You copy whichever one you think you can replicate. And then let me show you then how to get to the actual photo booth so that you can upload your picture once you've replicated it. All right, so you go to the lobby, just like I was showing you a little bit earlier. You log in, and then you select, obviously, the image from your phone or from your PC, depending on what you've logged in with to the platform. And then you select the picture, you put it through, and then it goes into our gallery. Then our judges, Dayan was one of the judges yesterday at Hackathon, right? So he's fresh from judging and will definitely use his skills here, right here, to help us decide, as to which picture was replicated the closest, either the Pele one or was it the Muhammad Ali? We'll be giving away 2 prizes for that. So I hope you're well relaxed. I hope you're ready for an amazing session. Just to check on a few more comments before we go to the next part of our program. I've got quite a lot of people actually that have just joined. Over 500 people joining us right now online. Hello, Sanbonani, Jambo, Bom dia, bonjour to each and every one of you joining us right here today. So we've got Dion says hashtag One Tech Team. We've also got William saying greetings from Ghana. We've also got Gundo saying well-deserved break, just a week away. But Gundo, don't you feel like December's been taking a whole lot of time to start? Because first of all, November lasted 2 months. Now, all of a sudden, December's taking long to start up. It's like one of those old Volkswagen Beetles. You just have and it doesn't want to start. Can't wait for this December to begin. And then we've got Sama Kamis all the way from Egypt. Hello. And Eddie also saying greetings all the way from Tanzania. Well, welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us today. And with that, let me introduce our first speaker. You know him. He is our leader right here in the technology department. And, spending time with him at Sun City got me to understand what an awesome man this guy is. Not only just an amazing leader, but a guy who really just cares about his people and cares about, getting the right people to do the right job and get the right results. Please help me welcome Hackathon judge and our CTO, Dayan. How are you, Dayan?
Hi, Lebo. I'm doing well. What about yourself?
No, I'm doing fantastic, Dayan. And I've got my One Tech Team T-shirt. Don't worry, I keep it when I go play golf so that I can show people that I'm part of a very good organization.
No, that's very good, Lebo. Actually, would be good also to carry it, in these kind of meetings, so that then you become part of the team, and then it's easier for you actually to pitch somehow for that executive role in the technology.
Well, Dejan, good advice, and I think I'm going to take it from next year. You shall see me wearing it most of the time. But Dejan, I'm looking forward to this your address right here, especially coming off what we spoke about in the previous town hall and where we are right now, and looking at the plans going into the next year. So please take it away.
Thank you, Lebo. So let me just say a big welcome to all of you across our markets. We are actually marking the end of another successful year as one tech team. And I think it's fair to all of us that we actually somehow go through the key achievements for the year. We somehow address the Q4 priorities and the FY24 priorities. And at the same time also to somehow point out a couple of projects that are super important for us to continue to roll out. It's actually our last town hall for the year. And with that, we are going to close the year with a festive period and hopefully, re-energize, spend some time with the family, and come back refreshed to actually kick off the last quarter. But before we go to reflect on the year, most of you, I guess, are already aware by now that the Vodafone Group announced on Monday that Nick Reed has agreed with the Vodafone board to step down as a group chief executive and as a director of Vodafone by the end of the year. At the same time, there was an announcement that Margarita, our Vodafone Group CFO, has been appointed interim group chief executive, and the Vodafone board has begun the process to find a new group chief executive. I would like to use this opportunity and wish Margarita every success as our interim chief, as we need that, and as well as extend to my warm wishes to Nick in his future endeavors, whatever he's planning again to actually grow and rise and actually be super successful. Why this is important? Because I just want to highlight that for us as Vodacom Group Technology, this remains as business as usual. There are absolutely no changes to us. We have our strategy, we have our strategic pillars, we have our strategic activities, and for us, we continue to execute, we continue to roll it out without any delay or without any, I would say, break in between in terms of getting it done. So just to repeat, no changes, full steam ahead against our execution of our priorities. Now, I have exactly 3 slides to share with you today. First one is talking about the highlights of our recent group interim results announcement, which happened the 14th of November, and as well to reflect on how Group Technology continues to play a critical role in the execution of Vodacom's group strategy. Last month, the group delivered a good set of interim results. And I would say that despite ongoing financial market volatility and weaker prospects for the global economy, our financial results in our presentation in November, we provided really, again, an update on our purpose-led business model, which actually drives our strategy. And I would say that going now through it, you will see we are still performing well. Now, the first pillar, which we have on the slide, and it talks about enabling the digital society, we leverage and use our digital capabilities to assist governments with solutions across verticals such as education, healthcare, and agriculture. And all of these are vital for the socioeconomic development of the continent. And as always, as an example, a good example in this case would be our platform with capabilities of Mezzanine and M-Pesa, which continue to be leveraged to address food security issues through products such as the Connected Farmer, MyFarmWeb, and DigiFarm. So we have a couple of those really good platforms in our stable that we utilize and actually enable really digital society throughout the continent. The second pillar, which is our purpose-led business model to drive inclusion for all. I'm absolutely super pleased that I can announce and I can actually repeat, not announce, but repeat that to the date resulted in 50% of the Vodacom South Africa ExCo member being women, which means half of them are actually represented in the ExCo. Across our group, 36.1% of management roles are currently being held by women as well. And that percentage, it's actually a collective to all of us. Increasing that percentage is a long-term management incentive and commitment, which actually has to be important to each one of us, each leader actually today on the call, to take this as a personal agenda and personal target and drive this as a change within your own domains. Our third pillar, which is planet, has been thrown into even sharper focus in the operating context of global energy challenges. We've been a principal partner at the COP27, where Shamil, but also our Egyptian delegation, showcased our smart agri and energy solutions to help society mitigate the effects of the climate change. I think a very good representation. I hope you saw some of the pictures from the LinkedIn. Shamil was even on one of the tractors actually posing. Absolutely great and very well accepted also by the COP27. In our strategy in action pillar, we continue to execute on the activities to support enhancement of the system of advantage. As I said, we are not changing. We have the same system advantage, same support, same streams. We're just trying to enhance and progress all of the activities. Couple of highlights from the last 6 months, to which all of you in group technology played a critical role, including the commercial launch of network in Ethiopia, which is serving today more than 1 million active subscribers. I just checked now before the actual call. It's actually 1.2 million active subs as we speak. Ethiopia experiencing differentiated service. Another highlight from the past 6 months is our proposed acquisition of a controlling stake in Vodafone Egypt. It's a long one. We really took some time actually to close it, but we received now approval from Egypt's Financial Regulatory Authority in November. We expect to conclude this transaction in the near term. I would say we're talking about weeks, hopefully not any more months. And this is going to be absolutely transformational, looking at Vodacom Group, looking at the addition which Vodafone Egypt actually brings in, especially in the IT domain, especially in the technology skills. Another one which is quite instrumental and actually with us for the last 12 plus months is the CIVH deal. ICASA has also approved that deal, and the deal undoubtedly will be instrumental in bridging the digital divide in South Africa by enabling affordable access to connectivity for underprivileged communities. And I'm looking forward also to become that as a sort of like a fiber factory to us here in South Africa, providing that capability for all of our sites and all of our homes and all of our businesses which we want to connect into Vodacom services. Another two, I would say, critical milestones. It's a spectrum acquisition in South Africa and Tanzania. I was personally involved in both, and I can tell you I like these kind of things, but at the same time, it was quite stressful. Both of them ended into our favor, 2 times 110 megahertz. Absolutely great, and looking forward now how to utilize and use that spectrum to the better benefit. On the investment side, we continue to invest heavily in our network and platform capabilities, again, with the same aim to retain our leadership position across our markets. This translated into excellent data growth of 40% plus in the Q2, and we also remain Africa's leading fintech operator with $355 billion of transactions across our M-Pesa platform over the last 12 months. Can you just imagine? $355 billion every single 12 months actually floating through the M-Pesa. And then lastly, looking at our interim results, financial outcomes, my comment here would be that despite financial market volatility and weaker global economic prospects, our group still increased revenues by 10.3% in the Q2, which I think it's an absolutely great growth story. And as all of you are aware, prevailing macroeconomic circumstances have increased our focus on cost containment and data-led personalized pricing. I think cost containment and cost focus, cost awareness is going to become more with us, and we are going to be more and more focused in terms of managing the cost. But on the other side, we also expect that by executing on our strategy and the new cost initiatives, we are positioned to deliver on our medium-term targets, which I think is absolutely great news as well. So my only message here would be, please let's make sure that we provide top support to our business colleagues to enable them to continuously drive growth with our services in terms of quality, in terms of coverage, in terms of capability, in terms of capacity, so that we can grow double-digit our group going forward into the next FY. Now, on the next slide, I'm just slightly touching on a couple of achievements which were made during the year. And I can just start with saying that I'm really incredibly proud of what the group technology team has accomplished in 2022. It was a tough year. It was a tough year on the business side. It was a tough year for some of us on the private side. But I was really, amazed, and I have witnessed the growing momentum of our one tech team spirit, of our one technology tech team spirit. Lebo mentioned the Sun City. I think that was an absolutely great kickoff when that spirit actually started growing, and I can see that daily now being more and more engaged as one team. and I'm actually looking forward into the next financial year and next calendar year to grow that more. Now, if you're looking a little bit closer into the specific pillars, in terms of expansion, we continue to expand our footprint in Africa. Already mentioned Safaricom Ethiopia. We hit now 1.2 million customers. 2G, 3G, 4G services are now available in 11 cities, including Addis, which was instrumental to start in the capital city and the second largest city, Addis Ababa. Now, the next milestone, because of this, saw somewhere a question, the next big milestone in Ethiopia is actually to hit the 25 cities in terms of the coverage by April 2023, and to meet the 25% population coverage, which is an obligational license. So I'm really looking forward with Safaricom Ethiopia as their vision to transform lives to a digital future for all Ethiopians. Let me just use the opportunity here and to say big thanks to the whole management team in Ethiopia, but specifically to Pedro, Ismail, David, second Ishmael, and the whole technology team there in Ethiopia actually driving this very important project together with Morten and myself. Next pillar, in terms of the technology leadership in network and IT, just very proud there that we actually managed to move the needle, and we are number one in terms of the position in the network NPS in 5 markets, meaning South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, DRC, Mozambique. And Dupes, I hope you're on the call. We are second in Lesotho, but just to say also a big shout out to Dupes. I think we are flapping between number 1 and number 2, and Dupes is working very closely with us, or we are working very closely with him to manage also that number 1 as soon as possible. So just let me use the opportunity here also to say thank you to all the CTOs, CNOs, and the CIOs really to drive this initiative locally and securing the lead in the NPS. You know my thinking. Number 1 in the network NPS is securing the number 1 in the NPS, and number 1 in NPS is securing actually the leadership in the market share. On the next pillar, in terms of the spectrum, we do maintain a strong spectrum position on markets. We achieved spectrum leadership in 6 markets with an overall number 1 position in South Africa, Kenya, Mozambique, Tanzania, Lesotho, and Egypt. We are number 2 in Ethiopia and number 3 in DRC. I think Ethiopia is obvious. We just launched Greenfield startup, nothing to do there. Apologies. I think whenever the opportunity arises, we are going to address it. And we're working very closely with Khalil and Didier and the team in the DRC to assure that we actually get from number 3 also to number 1 in the DRC. Two spectrum auctions that I already mentioned, Tanzania and South Africa, 2 times 110 megahertz that we received. Let me just also highlight here our group spectrum team, which has developed a state-of-the-art spectrum model, and that logic actually allowed us to be really, I would say, laser focused on what we want to get from the auction, to what kind of price we want to get to the auction, and actually to carve it out in the steps that was really, really beneficial to us. So let me again use the opportunity and just to say big thank you to Chris, Ryan, Steven, and the whole team, for the innovative approach in the supporting spectrum auctions. At the same time, for the rest of the markets, now where the capabilities. So whenever the new spectrum auction appears in the markets, please reach out. Chris, Ryan, Steven, and the team are more than willing to support. Next pillar, in terms of the fiber and the tower assets, it's part of the internal and external sharing. Also a little bit longer project, but we soft launch now our South African tower co in October. The whole story there is that we do the optimization of assets to the sharing, and this is an integral part of our system of advantage. The separation of our South African tower portfolio into a standalone tower co business is expected to support this strategic priority of enhancing asset returns, lowering the cost to communicate, and furthering our ambition to connect for a better future. I think the whole story there is we take it out, we put there dedicated management, and we get an absolutely great guy, Michael. He's an MD, and we actually then focus on only critical KPIs which are actually attached to the tower co. And I know Michael is going to execute that to the best possible extent. Big shout out here to Pierre, Lukman, Steven, and Michael to drive this project and making it a model for other markets. Next one, financial services. Again, one of the, I would say, absolutely great initiatives that we have. We are turning now our M-Pesa into a super app we are really envisaging the development of one super app with a shared mini program framework across markets through a common fintech services platform. And I think this plan is eventually to sunset My Vodacom app for the markets, standardize the telco self-service journeys across Vodacom Group IB markets, and then actually merge or converge everything into the M-Pesa platform. It's a big ambition. We saw this in a couple of some other markets, but it's really driving then stickiness, really driving that reusability of services left and right. And I think it's something that we have completely signed off. Ethiopia is going to be the first market actually launching the fully converged app as part of the Greenfield approach. And again, let me just use the opportunity here and say a big thank you to Rian, George, Derek, Anban, Hein, and all other colleagues for driving this really important consolidation. Next pillar, big data analytics. I think again one of the most important ones when we talk about data-led organization. Our data lakes are now live in 6 markets with 9 use cases relating to GSM and M-Pesa. We are developing a so-called multi-tenant shared data ocean with data lakes implemented for each market. And we're also developing a common Africa regional data ocean that comprises of regional data lakes on AWS public cloud. Just big shout out to Ritesh, Hein, Nicolas, Skolk, and all the market CIOs really supporting these, again, important initiatives in terms of standardization and unification of our assets. Next pillar, which is very close to my heart, as much should not be because it's a very high risk that it's actually that is actually positioned us, and cybersecurity. We are today on an average of 3.74 in terms of the CSB maturity across our markets, and we had 0 external critical and high vulnerabilities out of SLA. So again, very well done, good job done by the cybersecurity team. Let me just mention a couple of more achievements. We achieved the most improved cybersecurity posture within the DRC, within the FY23. So big shout to the DRC, catching up, doing very well. Ghana was the second, 6 controls now at 4. Also to Atif and the team, big shout, very good improvement. And all of our markets achieved a CSB 4.0 for security logging, monitoring, control, which I think it's also great to hear that at least one of the controls it's actually achieving 4 in all of our markets. Let me just say big shout out and thank you to Kerisa, all the market CISOs, all the market CTOs, CNOs, CIOs, great improvement, great drive, but we are not there yet. I'm going to talk about it later, but please keep on pushing to achieve the desired target of the CSB 4.0 by the end of this financial year. Next pillar, and I think it's coming to an end, we also retained our focus on becoming fit for the future through energy management and creating a one tech team culture also in that domain. We've been, in my personal opinion, behind. We were not really catching up and flowing with the rest of the market and the rest of the industry. We are now driving renewable energy solutions, including wind, solar, and IPP across South Africa, Lesotho, and Mozambique. So we're developing all of these different solutions, testing them, and then we're going to roll it out in all of the markets. South Africa, we are driving towards an agreement with Eskom to pilot a solution which will enable Vodacom to convert 100% of our electricity to renewables. It's, I would say, one of a kind or first of the kind here in South Africa. And yes, we have a couple of headwinds, but I think Duan and the team are doing absolutely great. Even Shamil personally supporting this initiative to make it happen. In addition, very important to mention our ISO 50001 implementation, which is in progress. And I'm looking also, into Duan, into you guys, each market to actually strike that certification and actually to also position as a more, I would say, aware companies or aware group in terms of the energy management. And then the last, we are also planning to establish microgrids in international markets using again our mezzanine and M-Pesa platforms. So big shout out to Duan, Dieter, Steven, all the market energy leads, and all the market executives for driving these really important initiatives and making it happen. Okay, I would like to now share with you some of the tech leadership team's reflection on our various achievements in the year that was and actually coming now behind us. So Lebo and the team, can you please roll it out?
We have recently launched 5G and we are doubling our fiber build this year. We are seeing double-digit growth across all our new areas in enterprise, and M-Pesa continues to be our flagship. We are now having more than 2,000 transactions per second in busy hour based on many new launches this year.
A big shout out to everyone that's been working so hard to achieve our CSV scores. Not just the cybersecurity team, but the IT and the networks team too. We're almost there. We can see that finish line. Keep pushing, and a really, really great job on getting through some amazing obstacles this year.
We've now onboarded 5 markets on this platform. We're busy rolling out the onboarding of more markets on this platform for IT services. In true spirit of the One Tech team, we've achieved a lot to be proud of.
From a network perspective, we've managed to maintain our leadership on the Umlaut and Facebook analytics. We've managed to claw back NPS from being 17 points down in April to being 1 point down today. And we've also managed to roll out our eKYC platform at 3 times more efficient speed for registration than the competitors.
We supported Vodafone in their annual Tech 2025 strategy refresh, and we developed African regionalized guidance on key initiatives that we need to accomplish in order to achieve our ambition of becoming a technology communications company. We also developed a 2G, 3G sunsetting position paper and established the African Regional Architecture Forum to help share knowledge on key strategic topics across the markets.
The VSA technology team has stood up to the challenges and brought in innovation across the board. IT teams, really well done. Network teams, really well done. Enterprise teams, really, really well done on every single aspect. Our customers are receiving the best customer experience in the country because of what you do.
We're really well positioned with the foundation that we built in the last couple of quarters for ourselves. So we're really well positioned for execution going into the new year.
We've consistently been able to deliver against a commitment to our business. On averaging, we're making more than 85% to 90% in other markets, and in the best performing markets up to 95%.
We have also established and staffed the Group COE, which will be instrumental to achieve our energy targets, supported by the appointment of local energy leads in most of our markets. We can celebrate our progress with ISO 50001, and we are still on track for certification readiness by end of this financial year. Perhaps a challenge to all of you to see who can be there first.
So big thanks again to all the leaders. I think if you listen to each one of them, messages are pretty much the same. I like Dupes. So Dupes said we went from 17 points being behind now to 1 point behind. So that means absolutely great position to be in, and it's just a little bit more, and we're going to actually again regain the leadership in the market. I like Morten. Morten, I was not aware that we have to wear a tuxedo to make such announcements, such videos, but absolutely great and absolutely, positively astonished by having the tuxedo on. Bev, I liked your message. I think very hard work done in the 2022, or let me say in this financial year in Vodacom South Africa. Great improvement in all areas. I think IT is the last pillar that we want to actually modernize and make it more effective and closer to our innovation. And then the last piece, I think, Becco and Hein also talked about the PI yield and the positive change that we're making in the IT. Again, absolutely supported. I can just highlight it again. Very well done. Also on the group PI yield, making it happen with the support from Will at that point of time. So good. And please continue to push. Now, the last piece, brief look at some of our priorities ahead to continue this strong momentum into the FY24 and into the last quarter of the FY23. These focus areas are supported through the technology enablement of our system of advantage multi-product strategy. And why I'm repeating this, because it's super important to understand system of advantage. We are enabling that system of advantage, and we are enabling it not for us, but for the customer, which is at the end looking at that multi-product strategy that we're driving across the footprint. So our ambition remains to be Africa's leading communication giant, and supported by the diversified and differentiated digital ecosystem through the execution of our Tech 2025 strategy. And again, I want to highlight also that Tech 2025 strategy is not changing; it's staying the same, and we are executing exactly on the same path. The only difference which we see is that we are pulling forward some of the initiatives because simply we see that we can do that. So, in terms of the network, we continue to invest significantly to retain our leadership position across our markets. Network leadership in 4G, 5G, fiber remains our key priority for our One Tech team in the year ahead. Already mentioned the NPS, but at the same time, we also run the so-called umlaut benchmarks, and umlaut benchmarks are showing that we are leading now in South Africa, Kenya, Mozambique, and Lesotho. Not to say that we don't lead in other markets, but we measure in these markets as a standalone. In Tanzania, DRC and Ghana will be looking to execute FY24 upgrades and build new 4G-enabled sites to improve the competitiveness of our 4G services. We are still dealing with closing the 4G gap in terms of the coverage. And at the same time, we will also focus on growing our fiber footprint in the year ahead. So fiber is becoming very important once we move from 3G to 4G, and it's becoming a must once we move from 4G to 5G, not only because of capacity, but also because of the customer experience. Our total number of the FTTS, so fiber to the sites, is going to grow by close to 1,300 in the next period. Another important pillar is the VoLTE. So VoLTE also, we are seeing absolutely great pickup here in South Africa, and also differentiated customer experience. We're also planning now to launch VoLTE in the DRC in 24, so financial year 24, and in Tanzania before the FY23 actually closes. That means before end of the March. When it comes to our 5G proposition, we will remain focused on the 5G deployment and the densification across our markets. Our 5G trials are now currently underway in Mozambique, and planned trials for the DRC and Ethiopia in FY24, and as well as in Egypt post the conclusion of the proposed acquisition. So saying it differently, wherever we already deployed, we do tend to actually, again, be the leader in terms of the 5G coverage. Wherever the deployment has not been made yet, we are doing the pilots, we are learning, and we are actually positioning ourselves to be the number one in terms of the commercial launch. In the spectrum domain, I think I already mentioned 2 countries where we're actually lacking behind, and for both of the countries we have a plan. Key there is actually for DRC to execute within the next financial year, and for the Ethiopia, I think we are going to wait for the first opportunity actually to arise. In the TowerCo, I think the priority for the next FY is to actually finalize the TowerCo separation into Telenet, meaning all of the assets, people, processes, all of the supporting contracts are actually being migrated to the TowerCo, and we should start seeing the first positive momentums actually kicking out from Michael and the team in terms of the positive improvements, looking at the tenancy ratio, looking at the cost of serving the site, and looking at the new services such as power as a service actually kicking in and supporting and helping us improving our availability of our sites. 2 other areas which are critical to support our best technology ambition are modernized IT platforms and cybersecurity and privacy. In the year ahead, our IT teams will be focusing on modernizing our systems and drive the usage of big data and machine learning across all of our markets, simply to ensure our systems are future ready and scalable. We will also continue to unlock value from IT through modernization, digitalization, standardization, and instilling a culture of reuse. Now, very importantly, when you talk about reuse, whenever we have a good use case, how do we reuse that use case with a small possible cost and shortest possible time in all other countries? Good example would be, as I already mentioned, big data analytics. Another good one would be the charging platform that we are now swapping out in 3, plans in 5 markets eventually to have a single charging platform, single vendor with a single center of excellence to drive that. Moving on to big data market adoption, as already mentioned, we have use case adoption in 6 markets, with plans for the remaining markets to be included in the next couple of months. Our target for the rest of the FY23 includes developing another 12 use cases across our markets, and we're looking at developing up to 27 use cases by the end of the FY23. When it comes to one super app with converged self-service journeys and the evolution of the financial services platform for the Africa region, I have already touched on our plans to sunset the My Vodacom app for the markets in the next months and years, but at the same time standardizing the telco self-service journeys across Vodacom Group international business markets and the launch of the super app for the Vodacom Group. A key focus in the year ahead is to centralize our M-Pesa operations, mini app and consumer app across all of our markets. Next pillar on the cybersecurity, I already mentioned that 3.74 score as of today. I think going forward, we will focus on improving these scores even further, as well as establishing our cyber global benchmarking program across our markets. Carissa here is also bringing some very fresh ideas in terms of continuous assessment from the outside, such as bug bounty, and also such as having the big data analytics again across our cybersecurity posture, simply to have it in real time and to make sure that we are completely, let me say, as the maximum possible safe in our environments. Internal sharing, I think that's one of the focus that we have to work very closely because it really brings a lot of positive improvements and a lot of efficiencies. The ASOC, the Africa Service Operations Center, continues to go from strength to strength as far as market network onboarding is concerned. In the next financial year, we are focusing on growing the ranges of microservices in the areas of performance management and fault management. The teams are also planning now to continue to work on the existing regulatory and commercial hurdles to unlock more of the system of advantage into markets such as Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya, Ethiopia, and Egypt, of course, post the finalization of the proposed acquisition. On the IT side, I think the ASOC team this year did really, absolutely great move. They successfully created the first IT operations monitoring capability as a service in the Lesotho market. During the remainder of the year, the goal is to add both Mozambique and Tanzania to the service environment. Then for the FY24, the team will aim to extend the service to South Africa, DRC, Ghana, and Ethiopia. So more or less on the network pillar, we are completely adding now so-called the IT stack as such. With regards to the fintech onboarding, during the last financial year, the ASO created the foundation work for the onboarding of key financial services such as M-Pesa, with the aim to conclude all the legal and contractual obligations by the year end. This will also enable us to onboard M-Pesa monitoring services for the IB markets from April 2023. And I think, again, to Christoph, kudos to Christoph and the team. What we are seeing in the last 2 years is that the ASOC environment matures through the coming months and to the coming years. The foundation work for the expanding services to the enterprise business becomes also an opportunity. So going now from, I would say, purely technology domains, we are moving now also to the enterprise domain. And the ASOC actually aims to unlock these capabilities, starting with microservices to enhance the enterprise monitoring capabilities currently offered to our most valued customers. And we aim actually to enable a range of capabilities during the FY24, starting with South Africa and eventually scaling to other markets. And then lastly, we are working towards the realization of our One Tech Cloud strategy with common cloud capabilities for IT and network across our operations. We do remain focused on the conclusion of our cloud RFP to identify a cloud service provider partner, or let me say partners in this case, for different domains to actually serve us here in Africa. Now, the last pillar, fit for future. I already spoken about renewable energy ambitions, our ESCOM agreement, and our ongoing evaluations of emerging technologies. Looking ahead, our One Africa team, enabled by the Africa Technology Operating Model, will allow us to a greater extent and greater oversight and alignment when it comes to market technology delivery. And I think we are taking, I call it baby steps, not to make too big waves, but at the same time, when we make a step, we want to make a step in the right direction to really demonstrate the capability, but to also demonstrate the efficiency that we're actually bringing in by standardizing and unifying the specific domain. Now, next pillar, and we have some guests today, we will be discussing our 2022 hackathon in a greater detail when the team joins us a little later on. But the hackathon has gone from strength to strength at Vodacom and will remain a priority project next year as it supports our system of advantage, but driving our evolution from a telco to a techco. I think it also fosters a spirit of innovation, experimentation, and collaboration, gives staff a voice to be the solution to challenges, and provides exposure to senior leadership. And I was, as Lebo mentioned, I was actually the judge on the group level. All the I would say final projects or final initiatives were absolutely great. I was positively impressed by the by the not complexity, but actually by the simplicity that they were actually providing, and asking myself why the heck we were not seeing these opportunities even before. So I think it's really good opportunity for us to actually re-challenge or challenge every year us ourselves, giving opportunity to our staff to actually challenge back the management team and to bring some very good positive proposals in terms of how do we do things differently. But before we welcome our hackathon guests, let's take a closer look at our historic Ethiopian launch, which I think is undoubtedly one of the proudest One Tech team achievements and moments for the 2022. So Lebo and the team, if you can please play out the Ethiopian video.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dejan. Really great to see the amazing work we've done, for this financial year thus far. And as you said, obviously things can improve, but I think you should be proud of such an amazing 2022.
Thank you, Lebo. I think you're absolutely correct. I tried actually somehow to position the latest announcement in terms of the financial results, because when we are looking at the economic environment which is outside, somebody can negatively judge the work that we are actually doing. But I think double-digit growth in the Q2, it's absolutely great accomplishment. I wanted also to do a shout out to some of the people when you look at different domains like network, IT, cybersecurity, Ethiopia project, and so on and so forth. So I think that was important for me somehow to recognize the achievement that we made until now. And then the last piece, more importantly for me, looking forward now, how do we execute really strongly the last quarter? That's the Q4 to finish the year on the highest possible. And then when we enter the FY24, you're already running. You're not actually now rethinking what I need to do. We are running. We have the same strategy, same initiatives. We have predefined steps in that program, and for me, most important is that all of us are completely aligned and understanding it's business as usual. Nothing is changing. All of this noise which is outside there, just leave it there. Let other people, other domains, other industries to play with it, and you guys just run.
Yep. It is the time for the execution.
100%.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. We will come back to you later when we get into our Q&A. But for now, before we chat to the hackathon team, I think it's time to get you guys that are obviously watching the town hall to actually just engage your brains a little bit. How's your memory? Well, here is a game to test it just like that. And you could probably have bragging rights for the rest of the year with regards to having the best memory within the technology team. All you need to do, you just scroll down on the platform, and as you go down to the bottom, you'll see it will say play now. Mine is ready. I'm going to start playing. Check that. Let me just click on one. All right. Oh, that doesn't match. All right. Let me just take that. Oh, I haven't seen that one. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, the next one. Yes, I've found one. But let me, guys, please remove it off the screen. I don't want people copying what I'm doing right now. Let me just go here. I saw the drum here. No. Okay, let me just go another one. If we click on this one. I'm getting it good. How are you guys doing? Carry on. The quicker you are, then you'll be on top of the log and you walk away with our prize. So make sure that you carry on. Let me just try this one right here. I know Lexi is very good with her memory, so I'm just trying to beat her. Just go here. Oh no, that was supposed to be there. I wonder how Diane is doing, but yeah, let me see. All right, there, done. But I do not think I was the quickest. I definitely do not think that I was the quickest. So I definitely hope that you were quick, but the game will be available for the next 10 minutes for you to try and put on the high score. You can try as many times as possible, but I usually advise you to hand it over to the kids. They're probably there watching with you. Hand it over to them. They can probably get you the best high score. You know how their memory is, right? They always remember when you promise to get them that toy, that sweet, or whatever it is that you promise. So moving on to the next item on our program, we get to speak now to the hackathon team, where we've got Mamelo Selamulela, who is the managing executive for group strategy and innovation. And in this role, Mamelo leads strategy and innovation for all Vodacom and Vodafone operations across sub-Saharan Africa, working with an exceptional team to ensure that we keep Vodacom at the forefront of innovation as a world-class technology company. And she is not alone. She is joined by her ehud in innovation, that is Yanni van Zyl. We call him Mr. Innovation. And then Yanni is also joined by the innovation manager, who together with Yanni, they are the brain power for this year's hackathon, which you saw yesterday, the Nations Cup. Welcome to all of you guys. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks, Lebo.
Oh, very good. Thanks, Lebo.
Well, let me give Yanni and, Lo a rest for a second, because I'm sure you must still be tired from yesterday. Let's start with Mamelo. Mamelo, to someone watching and that was not obviously watching our hackathon yesterday, just tell us a bit about the hackathon and why we actually do it as an organization.
Lebo, I really hope that there aren't a lot of people who weren't watching yesterday, because it really was an exceptional display of the innovation capability, the collaboration capability in the organization. And for those who weren't able to watch, I would encourage you to find the recording and see that. But, your question is around why we do hackathons. Primarily, we talk about in our strategy moving from a telco to a tech co. That's really our ambition. And a key part of that is around innovation. And we have a fundamental belief that innovation isn't top down. Innovation isn't something that Shamil does or Dayan does or the Exco does, and then it filters down and the rest of us just kind of toe the line. Innovation can and must come from every single part of the business. Every single one of us is here because we are capable, because we have experience, because we have great ideas. And so the hackathon is around giving everybody a platform to innovate. It's about giving everybody a platform to live up to the spirit behaviors, particularly when we talk about things like create the future, experiment and learn fast, get it done together, earn customer loyalty. All of those speak about behaviors that drive innovation. And our strategy requires that we continuously push the boundaries. We continuously think about what's next, what is the next growth horizon, what is the next opportunity for us to really continue to have an impact. And so we use the hackathons across all of our markets to give an opportunity for people to solve real business problems, to uncover real business opportunities, and to deliver ideas that we can execute in all of our markets and that will enable us to have an impact, whether that is in terms of increasing revenue, whether that is in terms of saving costs, whether that is in terms of improving the experience of our customers, improving the experience of our employees. All of these ideas contribute to making Vodacom and keeping Vodacom as a leading organization on the continent, a leading technology company in Africa. And so that's why we do the hackathons. It drives the spirit of innovation, it drives a culture of innovation, and it delivers these incredible ideas that come from the business to solve real problems. And I think we saw that over the past few weeks, culminating in the final that we had yesterday, unbelievable ideas that came from all over the business. And that's really why we do this. And that's why over the last 5 years, the hackathon has grown just from strength to strength every year. And I can safely say, the hackathon this year was the biggest one that we've done, and really the most exciting and far-reaching one that we had. And really all credit to the team, all credit to the hackers that participated, all credit to the leaders who supported the hackathon. I mean, it's been really, really fantastic and a real reflection of who we are as an organization and who we aspire to be.
For what they
I think, Pamela, while Lebo is coming on, I think it's also a week or weeks of having fun and actually also realizing what an amazing people we have. Because the ideas that you're actually getting on the top, it's as I said earlier, like when you see it, it's like, why didn't I thought about this before? And then suddenly it's in front of you. It's a really good model. It's a process which is very well defined, and it's just up to us as a management. Let's put it into life.
Yeah.
How do we now execute it into a daily execution, making sure that it actually brings the value to the organization?
And I think Dan, the point you make two really good points. But the first one on fun, it's really important. And I think sometimes we forget. And earlier you were talking just about the current climate that we're in. It's so easy to get caught up. But actually, throughout the hackathon, in every market, we had a lot of fun. Teams had so much fun, just, getting the best out of their colleagues, working together. A little bit of healthy competition is also good, and everybody had fun, from MDs to everybody who was hacking. It was really, really fun. And I think that's an important part of something like a hackathon. It's not just a by the way, it's really critical. So thanks for bringing that up.
You mentioned the competitiveness, which I think we are working in a very competitive industry, in a very competitive environment. Each market that we operate, we are number one. So we like to be number one.
Yeah.
And I think it's also somehow bringing that spirit in the organization, looking at all of the new employees, I would say long tenure employees, but still keeping that competitiveness. So you're a competitive person.
Yeah.
And I think during the hackathon, you just come, up straight, supporting the teams or the team, which is your favorite one, making sure that, they're progressing to the next and the next and the next level.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that's right. That's right. And I think also just, this idea of democratizing innovation. The ideas came from people who've been in the organization for 2 months, all the way to people who've been in the organization for 20 years, right? Everybody has an equal platform with the hackathon to bring a great idea forward and for it to get the platform and an opportunity to just bubble to the top and for all of us to then celebrate it and acknowledge it. So I think that's really important. And I think we achieved that this year.
No, 100%. And this year was exceptional. You guys are also innovating all the time.
Yeah.
From a single market, then to multiple markets, having one big hackathon. This year we had how many mini hackathons? 9? 8?
We had 7.
7 mini hackathons, and then all the way to the group, the last one, which was actually. So you guys are also continuing to innovate. How do we run those hackathons just to keep it, again, interesting, innovative, and exciting for the people?
That's right. Yeah.
Big thanks.
Thank you.
No, Dejan, the team definitely take it a step further each year. And I can definitely confirm that from 5 years ago, it did not look like what it looks like right now. And a person to confirm that is Yanni. Let's just bring Yanni on right here, just to hear from Yanni as to why this year was so different and what made this year's hackathon really this different.
Yeah, thanks, Levo. And I think the evolution of a hackathon is actually quite interesting to track, how it started out. And I think it's important to remember the hackathon was actually started by Vodacom IT. So there was a drive a few years ago, as there is today, to move more and more into software, to have more programmers, to have collaboration, to have agile, to have all these skills in the organization, and especially in the technology group. And the hackathon was created to drive that behavior, to give people challenges so that they must actually code. So one of the interesting things of our hackathon compared to so many others around the globe that we look at is that real prototypes are developed. These are not PowerPoint presentations that you've seen or screen mock-ups. These are real working prototypes that they have to develop to be part of a hackathon. So when the hackathon initially started, it started in South Africa as a local event. A number of teams dialed in. This was 2018, so we had about, I think, 16 teams in 2018. 2019, it grew a little bit. We started getting the markets coming in and participating. But because it was a South Africa-based event in the sense that you had to travel, we didn't see a lot of teams traveling from the other markets for obvious reasons, but we did see the markets coming in and starting to participate. And it was still a central single event per year where you submit ideas, your ideas get selected, and you come to the hackathon and you develop your ideas and show your prototypes. And then, of course, 2020 happened, and the hackathon had to go virtual. As we all remember from 2020, it was early days for virtual platforms, so there was a lot of learnings that happened there. That was our first virtual one. And then last year, we had the platform component sorted out. So we had figured out what platforms do we need, and we spent 2020 and the lessons we learned in 2020 to build the new platforms. This platform that we're on right now, for example, didn't exist in 2020. And the hackathon was one of the key drivers that actually built this platform out. So we built the platforms, and that gave us immense opportunity. So that was the first step change in the hackathon, where because we were virtual, anyone could partake. So one of the most amazing effects that came out of that is we got cross-market collaboration. So teams formed across the markets because everyone was on the platform. There was no specific market that you were in. You could be in a team. So remember our winning team from last year, Afro MXP, Ghana, Tanzania, Ethiopia. 2 members of each of those markets came together, gave us crowdfunding, and won the hackathon. And by the way, went on to win the CEO awards this year with the same idea because they implemented. So that was the first big step change. But we also did something interesting last year with the hackathon, and that was Innovation Week. And we tend to forget about Innovation Week. We had a whole week of just innovation activities. 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, over 60 different speakers. Every SLT member was involved. Every market MD was involved. Every CEO was involved. Everyone was involved in Innovation Week, and within Innovation Week, we wrapped this virtual hackathon. So that worked extremely well last year, and we proved a few points that, first of all, cross-market collaboration can work, and you can find the same problems in multiple markets and solve it. So then we had to figure out how do we change it for this year. And when we looked at our evolution, our desire was always to drive a hackathon deeper and deeper into the markets. This is not a group-owned thing. This is not a group innovation thing. This is a Vodacom group thing. This should be owned and driven and acted out by the markets. And we had the first stab at it last year with a virtual event. So this year we said we've got a few criteria we want to meet. The first is that there was a lot of requests for the physical event to come back. 2018, 2019, we had physical events and then virtual. So people said, everyone, Shamil, everyone said, Dejan, let's have a physical event again. So we thought, okay, how can we bring physical events in? But keep some of the good stuff of the virtual events. And then the other one that was really important is last year, we were quite excited when the South Africa participation dropped under 50%. Not because they had less entries, but because the other markets had more entries. So we started seeing the smaller markets climbing, but still the bigger markets, Kenya, South Africa, those markets still dominating the number of entries and therefore also dominating the results. And we wanted to move away from that. So we said each market must have equal participation and must have equal chance of winning the finals. And then we really wanted to make this about the markets. One of the challenges we've had before, Dana has spoken about it, is implementation. And our thinking was that if the markets own their challenges, they will implement, and then if they implement in their home market, we can immediately replicate into the other markets. So instead of trying to build one solution for all markets, that will always take longer, you build it for your market, and then you roll it into the other markets. So that was another point we wanted to bring in. And then we really wanted the MDs to own this. This is their hackathon now, it's not our hackathon. And I think when you saw the MD introduction videos yesterday, there was good competition. They touched on this competition thing. We were hoping that inter-market competition would create exactly what it did. So we brought all these things together and we came up with a structure of a hackathon where we had seven physical in-market hackathons. Now remember, in the previous years, we had one hackathon per year. Now we had 7 hackathons, and they weren't mini hackathons. They were exactly the same size as the previous years, just 7 times over. So it was 7 times physical hackathons. South Africa, 20 teams. I think Lesotho had about 9 teams. So everyone came with their top teams. We had 323 entries, and we selected 80 teams in total, 400 hackers across these 7 hackathons. And then that, of course, produced the winners, each national champion. And that's what you saw compete yesterday with the national champions. And then I think the other stroke of genius that someone at some point came up with is to say, let's theme this around soccer because of the Soccer World Cup. But what we didn't realize is that this love for the sport that this continent has got really is a passion. It's a burning passion. And we saw it in the hackathons. You know, there were soccer balls everywhere, and people were playing football all around all the events. No one could walk past a ball without trying to kick it. It's just in the genes of the Africans to love a sport, and that came together. So that's what we did this year, and it worked brilliantly. We got 7 champions that had an idea that their own MD selected as the winning idea. Therefore, it will get implemented in the local market. And that MD brought his team to the international stage, to the African stage, to compete for the finals. So it really worked well. So a massive event this year. In fact, I sat last night and I thought, if you add all the previous events together and you double it, what we did this year is slightly bigger than that. So it was just stupendous in scale, and we'll at some point share some of the numbers and how big it was. By the way, we had about 1,500 people watching the event yesterday from across the continent and across Europe as well. Yeah, so what we do next for this, we will have to figure out, because this is going to be hard to beat.
Oh, definitely will be hard to beat, Yanni, but big congratulations to you and your team. But let's just bring Lo into the conversation here quickly, because I know how Lo was also on the ground, you know, rallying her troops. Another part of her skills that is probably not required for the job is motivating the team, you know, that is working in the hackathon, making sure everybody's in the right mood, you know, in the working space. But you never see you, L'Oreal, not in a meeting. It's either one headphone is in a meeting, and physically you're also trying to organize something here. You're just a ball of energy and such a hardworking person. But tell us, for you, did this baby come to life the way you envisioned? Oh, you're on mute, Mo. All right, just check your headphones there.
Lebo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So yes, so the baby definitely did come to life this year. We set up and really took it upon ourselves to come up with the biggest and best hackathon we could possibly come up with. And it's not really just my team and the innovation team, but this year we really saw each of our markets step up, represent, and you know, the amount of teams on the ground. Last year we had around, you know, almost 200 people who put the hackathon together, and this year I'm sure it's probably over 1,000, you know, where we really had people bring together what we dubbed the Nations Cup. And yesterday what everyone saw was the culmination of this Nations Cup. So Yanni made mention of it, but we had 7 different events that happened all across the African continent. I have to say, we really enjoyed spending so much time in all of our markets. And each market brought their own individual flair. You know, in Ghana, there was drumming. In DRC, I learned a very interesting clap. We still don't know what it means, but we had so much fun on the ground where these markets put together a 3-day physical in-country event. Everybody came together, everybody collaborated and worked together, and the competition was fierce, even in the market events. This then culminated in one champion. This champion then entered into the Pan-African finale. And you guys, if you missed out on it, really, it was exciting. The judges were super happy. We had Shamil as our head judge. We essentially was deciding who our champion is. I think, Lebo, you dubbed him the Hackathon Football Association owner, you know, so it was really, really exciting, and this created so much energy. I want to quickly show you guys just, you know, how this event came to life in each of our markets. You know, you can see just from the slide the amount of energy. We didn't think that, you know, hackers could dance, but in South Africa, people were throwing it down on the stage. In DRC, you know, the guys really came through. I learned more French in that week than I've ever done. Tanzania had a brilliant event in country where there was a, you know, in-country mascot. This guy literally walked floor to floor, rallying everyone, making sure that they're excited and tuning into the event. So it wasn't just about the hackers who were sitting on the floor, those 6 teams, but everyone really was involved. Lesotho created their own war cry that really Mohale and the rest of the exco walked out on, and really represented exactly what it's like to be in Lesotho. I could probably go on for days just talking about some of the exciting things we saw happening in this year's hackathon. We'll probably have to cover it in probably a 20-minute video because it's so much awesome content. One of the things I'm super proud of is this year the hackathon produced its first female-only team. So in Mozambique, we had our first female-only team that was competing, and they actually made it to the finals in Mozambique. We're super proud of the ladies, and we definitely saw the energy in the room from Mozambique. Now, in terms of the ideas, there, like Yanni said, we had, you know, probably around 80 ideas that made it in for each of our markets, but we've got champions that were produced in each of our countries. So in South Africa, we had the Amaglukluk team, and they had an awesome idea called Network for You, where they really wanted to monetize and look at different ways that we can build on our Just For You offerings. In Tanzania, we had the Money Makers, where they had, you know, a foreign exchange or an in-bureau exchange idea that's really going to revolutionize how we, you know, welcome tourists into our countries. In Kenya, the team came up with an awesome idea where they worked with the IoT.next team to create a car service tracker. And then the new kids on the block, super proud of Team Mabaderia, who had a peer-to-peer crowd lending service. I have to say something so amazing about this team, level. So this team, there's not even M-Pesa yet in Ethiopia, and they came up as winners and ideas that really focus on M-Pesa, which was super exciting. We then had in Mozambique, Simon had his champions, the team masterminds, where they came up with an awesome solution on how we can use M-Pesa to settle school fees. This is something that's super difficult in the country to do, and people need to take off work. And this really speaks to how we can empower our communities. Something similar also came to the front was Team Ghana, so Team Green Labs. We finished their event last week, and the team came up with this brilliant planet solution where we're looking at waste management and creating and building a platform around that. In Lesotho, there was a team, so we had Team Ghost. We definitely had some interesting names. Team Ghost is definitely one of the teams that had one of the best names in the competition, and they created a solution on how to use WordPress plugins through M-Pesa. And then we had our brothers in the DRC who created a customer behavior mapping idea. And these were the champions we essentially stepped up onto the stage yesterday. We did crown a couple of champions. I think without a doubt, I don't know how many times Exco said it, but each and every one of these 8 teams were champions yesterday. The amount of work that we saw the guys put in. So a lot of the time people think, you enter the hackathon and it's just those 3 days, and it's so much more level. So the guys, once the ideas were shortlisted, had to go on so much training. We literally took them on a boot camp where we taught them all the skills they needed for this year's hack. These guys then competed in country, and immediately once the event was done, the work continued to refine and work on their ideas. Because key for us in the hackathon is not just there's the element of fun and the element of people solving problems, but it's actually getting implementable ideas, and we've really managed to achieve that in the past couple of years, where we saw, for example, last year, all our top ideas being implemented, and we expect the same for this year. Now, I'm sure you guys are keen to find out who exactly won. So in third place, we had the DRC. The team, Ayeno, really performed well. It was exciting to see them win. I was actually in country in the DRC, and it was lovely to see even Khalil standing up and supporting his team in the room and celebrating with them the moment the announcement was made. In second place, we had Mozambique, who definitely came in with the fire, a really, like I said, purpose-led solution that came in second place. And then we crowned our first ever Nations Cup champion. This is officially a cup that will be roaming across all our countries to see who every single year will be our winner. And yesterday, a young team, they actually call themselves Amagluk. So they are essentially the youth league of this year's hackathon. Mm-hmm. They were crowned, and South Africa was crowned as our champion for this year's Nations Cup. We're super excited to see what next year brings. But like I said, this event could not have been possible without your support, all our teams in the market. I don't want to mention all the names just in case I forget anyone, but really it was absolutely fantastic. We say we're not going to say this every year, but really stay tuned and let's see what 2023 brings us.
Wow, thank you so much, L'Oreal. Thank you, Yanni, and thank you to you, Mamelo. Really great to see how we're growing from stride to stride with regards to Hackathon. And I'm excited to see what we have in store for 2024. Well, for you guys that are watching, obviously from home or the office, I saw some of you guys go ahead and try the memory game. Firoz was number 127 out of 500, while we've got Juliana, who was number 49. Right? So, and Mildred was number 122. I'd like to give you guys another opportunity, but this is a different game. Let's try it. All you got to do is just scroll to the bottom and then start the game. Now, this one is very interesting. You could give it to your son or daughter, and they could actually go ahead and play. I'm sure even your pet could get a high score on this one. All right. So let me go ahead, log in. Just log in quickly. Once you've logged in, then you can go ahead and use your bubble shooter right there. All right, there's mine. All right, level 1, and I start. You can see those SIM cards are coming down, right? You can see. I just need to make sure that these SIM cards actually then make, okay, let me just go there. You see, when I shoot 3, then 3 of the same color, then they go ahead and disappear. All right, I'm doing more. All right, let me go ahead. While you do that and carry on playing, I want to cross over to Barbara so we can hear some updates on the organizational changes within Group Tech. Barbara, how are you?
Thanks, Lebo.
Well, Barbara, we're looking forward to your presentation with regards to the organizational changes. Please take it away.
Okay, thank you. We have had a few changes in the group team, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with by now. Firstly, I'm pleased to announce the appointment of Jorge Sosa Reyes as Chief Information Officer, Vodacom Financial Services IT, based in Dubai. Jorge joins Vodacom after successful implementation of the hashtag P2P wallet with PayMe. a fintech initiative from HSBC Hong Kong. He brings more than 25 years of financial technical experience in leading and managing technology. He has held numerous leadership roles, including Global Head of Card IT, Global Head of Retail Products IT, and recently PayMe, Chief Information Officer, with a successful tenure in HSBC, Mexico, and Hong Kong. After 24 years at Vodacom, Petro Rabakal will be leaving the group at the end of January 2023 to pursue external opportunities. Since joining Vodacom, Petro has held various leadership positions in Vodacom South Africa, Vodacom Group, and in Vodacom Mozambique, where he built out the network, launched 4G, and accelerated the group of M-Pesa. For the last 16 months, he has been seconded to Safaricom Ethiopia as the CTIO. Under Petro's leadership, Safaricom Ethiopia has successfully built and launched one of the most technically advanced cloud-based mobile technology companies in Africa. He has been instrumental in creating a multicultural team focused on delivering a best-of-breed network and IT technology for the Vodacom Group. I would like to thank Petro for his contribution and wish him success in the next phase of his career. A suitable successor will be announced in due course. Lastly, Aisha Said, current business manager to the group CTO, will be leaving Vodacom at the end of December to pursue full-time studies. Aisha joined Vodacom South Africa in 2015 through the Discovery Graduate Program under the Vodacom Fiber team during its startup stage. She continued to work in roles across organizations, including access network engineering and digital and financial services. She has been a proud advocate for diversity transformation, having led the first Youth Council in 2019 and supporting initiatives like Code Like a Girl. In the most recent role as business manager, she supported the technology community by implementing a governance framework and an engagement strategy across technology and the various markets where we operate. I would like to personally thank Aisha for her invaluable contribution to this team. She will sorely be missed. Leslie Fintech has been appointed as business manager replacing Aisha, effective 1st of December 2022. Lexi joined us from the group. Lexi joined us from Group External Affairs team with close to 7 years of telecommunications experience and a career spanning 15 across banking, broadcasting, and consulting. She holds a Bachelor of Journalism honors degree from Rhodes University and a master's degree from the University of London School of Oriental and African Studies. She joined Vodacom in 2016. Lexi has played a key communications role in a number of Vodacom strategic projects, including the license bid and launch of the Ethiopia network, the launch of Africa's first 5G commercial network in Lesotho, as well as the launch of South Africa's first 5G service in 2020. With that, I would like to hand back to Lebo.
Wish Aisha, a very, very, very good time with your studies. And don't forget us right here in South Africa. And we welcome you, Lexi, into the One Tech team. I wonder if they told you about the initiation, but hey, we'll save that for another time. What I'd like to do now is just bring on the leadership quickly so we can do Q&A before the session actually ends. And to do the Q&A, I've got a few guys, obviously our leadership team that is joining us here. And I'd like to start with Morton. If we can bring up Morton quickly. I've got a question here from the audience that says, given the recent national power blackout in Kenya, what was the impact on our network and what mitigation plans have been put in place for future possible blackouts, Morton?
Okay, thanks everyone. And first, apologize. I had to take off my tuxedo when I saw how Dayan was dressed. But it's true that we had a couple of national blackouts in November. we're not quite as experienced in that as South Africa, but it's a good test for how your setup is when you suddenly out of the blue have a national blackout. So we were, of course, testing that all our data centers kept running, and they did, and all our hub sites and so on. So what happens here is we lose most of our fixed customers because, of course, they have devices in their homes that needs power. But interestingly, we also see that what we lose in fixed, quite a bit of that comes back in mobile. So people quickly switch for the fiber lines and the fixed wireless devices into the mobile. So mobile traffic is roughly the same, but a big hit on fixed. But as I say, it's an interesting experience to see that our system works as we expected. A bit expensive on the fuel side though, so we challenged ourselves on the OPEX this month, but that's life. Most of our customers kept going.
Well, Morten, you guys still call them blackouts. We already have a name. It's called load shedding. Moving on from you, Morten, thank you so much. I'd like to call on someone that knows our, holiday season in South Africa and obviously abroad and how busy it actually gets. Stephen, I'd like to find out, because the holidays coming up, what is the impact on our network traffic? All right, we're just trying to get Stephen to come and join us. Hey, Stephen, how are you?
You see me? Hi, Level.
Yes,
Good and you?
I'm very good, man. Stephen, you used to be, ME of Cape Town. I'm sure you know how busy those areas get. But I'm sure now, looking at the group, there is definitely going to be a change with regards to our network traffic. What's the impact on that during the holidays?
Yes, as I was saying, look, it's not only South Africa. We see this in all our markets where the festive season traffic definitely picks up. Some of the countries are obviously holiday destinations. So obviously you'll see a lot of migration towards those areas. What we do in the network is obviously to plan for this. So we plan for festive season capacity. Remember, our plan in the year is to invest most of our capex and do as much of the upgrades in the early part of the year. And in fact, we have a rule that all our capacity projects must be executed before December, before the festive break. Granted, sometimes we're off to a slow start, but I would say we've executed well. We've got the most capacity we can have in all the markets. I must say this is the first year where all the markets have actually executed. When you're running a portfolio, you'll always have one country either not performing in that year. But this has been a good year where we've had everybody in sync, everybody executing well. So I think we're quite ready from a capacity perspective and looking forward to obviously generating the revenue that comes with the network capacity.
Oh, we definitely are. Thank you so much, Stephen. I think let's go all to Ethiopia right now. Pedro, with the recent successful launch and reaching 1 million customers, what is the next big milestone now for you and your team?
Yeah, thank you, Levin. Thank you, everyone. The next big shiny object that we're aiming for is the M-Pesa launch. When we did the launch of the business on the 6th of October, there was an historic moment during that launch event where we actually agreed with government on the licensing and the way forward for M-Pesa. So from the 6th of October, the clock started ticking for us. As of this morning, the first combined app that Dayan spoke about, the converged app between GSM and so the mobile operation and M-Pesa, has already been released for internal testing. So the systems are up. Now the question, begs to be asked is when is official launch, and that's when the paperwork comes through. But the teams are definitely getting ready. M-Pesa is part of our structure and part of our business evolution. And with a market of 120 people, you can only dream about the possibilities of where M-Pesa could go. So it's a nice big challenge. Yeah.
A good challenge. And as I know, Dayan, more challenges are coming your way to make sure that we are number one wherever we are.
Very good. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Pedro. Let's go to Tanzania. And Atumani, I just want to find out what progress has been made since the recent acquisition of Spectrum in Tanzania.
Thank you very much, Lebo. Speaking on behalf of Andrew, our CNO, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today due to some unfortunate circumstances. So, as Dayan has said, we one of the markets that recently acquired spectrum. So we acquired 700 megahertz, 2300 megahertz, and 2600 megahertz of the spectrum. A couple of blocks of bandwidths that we acquired there. And immediately after the acquisition, obviously we needed to start planning for lighting up the spectrum. And in the plan, we've planned to upgrade bandwidth for 774 sites on the 700 megahertz, of which 340 sites have been completed already. And the remaining 434 will be completed in January. At the same time, we're also planning to deploy the 2300 megahertz on 100 sites as carrier aggregation to reduce congestion. And this will be completed from January onwards as well, while we're waiting for some delivery of hardware to be able to accomplish that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Atumani. We've got a few more questions now. We've got one for Duan, and then we're moving on to you, Ryan. So Duan, on your side, given the rising cost of fuel and global inflationary pressures, what are the plans at group level, obviously, for alternative energy sources?
Yeah, thanks, Lebo. We're obviously looking at renewables. At this stage in time, renewables are still much cheaper than what we're paying for our current grid-connected cost, as well as for diesel, for example. So we are aggressively looking at different technologies that we can deploy in the different markets. It's a bit of a slow process, unfortunately. Procuring energy equipment is not necessarily the fastest thing you can do. But we are looking at different strategies that we can deploy and scale very quickly. One of which, for example, South Africa is to use an IPP, an independent power producer, to sell renewable power to the Eskom grid, which we then procure, and we also obtain the renewable energy certificates. And in the rest of the markets, we're doing something similar in the areas where we have poor grid connectivity, for example, in DRC and Mozambique. We're trying to do localized IPPs with microgrid solutions. So not only are we powering our own sites with renewables, but we're also supplying the local communities, which uplifts the local economy and supplies the local community with power as well as telecommunication services. So that's really what we're looking at this stage. On-site renewables, we're also looking at that. We're doing trials in South Africa currently for wind and solar to be deployed. But these have very limited applications in most of our sites because of the physical constraints that we face with these. But we are looking at all of the other technologies, typically OPEX-based models that are significantly more cost-effective than current technologies that are out there. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Duan. And then Ryan, our final question that we have here says, how will non-terrestrial networks affect traditional telco, and how should VC prepare for this as we shift from being a techco?
Thanks, Lebo. So I think it's a good question. I think non-terrestrial networks are still use cases.
Ryan, just a second. Your sound is a little jittery. It sounds like you are on FM.
Can you hear us now?
No, we could hear you. It's just that it just has something that just attaches to it as you go.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me know if it hopefully clears up.
Yeah, no, it's still quite bad on your side with regards to the sound.
Thanks, Lebo. Let me swap positions and be a bit closer to the mic. It might help. So, in terms of... Is it
still very bad. It sounds like you are Optimus Prime. So, I don't know if we can check if it's the connection in the room, or can we get the team maybe to check in the background?
Let's go Lebo, to the next question, and then we come back.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much to you. All right, we don't seem to have more questions. The only question then goes to you, Dayan, as the last question. But maybe as you guys check the sound there, we can just segue to something else quickly before we come back to you guys, because we're going to come back to you, Ryan, for this question, and then for you, Dayan, to close out. So we will need the same mic for both of them. Let's see if Carissa is actually on the call. Carissa, how are you?
I'm good, Lebo. How are you?
I'm doing great, Carissa. Cyber, what is going to happen during this period? I spoke to Mark Shower a couple of weeks ago regarding this type of situation now, where we are in the festive season and all the cyber criminals are probably so happy that all of us will be careless at the beach, wherever, So how important is it to have a good cybersecurity for us as obviously going on holiday, and obviously for Vodacom?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think, unfortunately, the criminals don't go on holiday. They're exceptionally active when we're all not aware and maybe our guard is slightly down. So make sure you're being safe online. Make sure you are only using trusted networks. And as a Vodacom employee, for those of you that are staying behind to make sure we're safe over the holiday period when everyone else is sitting on the beach, a big thank you. I know the cyber team last December spent the entire month together, unfortunately, because we had one of the most massive vulnerabilities globally that came out in December. And we were all over the continent, but we were all working together from beaches and all over the place. So your cyber team will be alert and aware, but just also please be alert and aware as you go off with your family and your friends. Cyber criminals never sleep, so make sure you're protecting yourself.
Make sure you keep safe. One thing Mark shared with me was that we must actually stop loving these free Wi-Fis we get everywhere, because then that's where those cyber criminals are sitting waiting to access our information.
Of course, our own network is definitely a lot more secure than connecting to public Wi-Fi connections. So where you can 3G directly into a Vodacom network, where we've got eyes on it and we're protecting it a lot better than a Wi-Fi connection.
Thank you so much, Carissa, and wishing you an amazing festive season. And then, Ryan, let's get back to you and check your sound.
Levo, I think we're going to try and get the sound from my laptop and then loop it through. So, is that a bit better?
Not at all. Not at all. It's still very static.
Just give it a mic something as well. Can you run this around my laptop?
All right, still very static on your side. So what we can do now, before we come back, because Ryan, we just have your question, and then we come back to Dayan to close off for us with regards to his final message for our town hall today. But before we do that, maybe while we give you a chance to fix the sound, let's announce our winners from the different games. So we played such amazing games today. We did the replicate the picture game. We also went to do the memory game, and obviously our bubble shooter. So we are still going ahead and just trying to get our winners for bubble shooter, because quite a lot of you played there, and it was very tight, extremely very, very tight. So replicate the picture. We still want to check exactly how you guys tried to remake these pictures. Definitely must be funny. All right, we've got you now, Ryan. Let's try your microphone right now.
Is that a bit better, Lebo?
This is better.
Okay, well, let's try. I suppose third time lucky. So I think on non-terrestrial networks right now, we've got a lot of different options on the table. We're currently busy with the AST Space Mobile trial in partnership with Vodafone and taking place in Kenya. And that particular trial is focusing very heavily on doing direct-to-mobile communications. So that's the Blue Walker 3 satellite that was launched a couple of months ago. And the trials for that will be happening around sort of January, February timeframe. So we'll actually be able to see for the first time whether or not we can speak directly from space on 4G to everybody's mobile devices. There are a few other players in the game at the moment, Starlink from SpaceX, and even Amazon is busy looking into this with Project Kuiper. So from our side,
I think the technology still needs to be somewhat proven. I think the synergies from a strategic perspective are that it can definitely provide new backhaul connectivity links to rural sites, as opposed to the current sort of backhaul solutions that we've been using. And we'll also be looking at for ultra-rural coverage, direct-to-mobile and fixed wireless access going into the future. But in the long term and in general, I don't think non-terrestrial will ever fully replace terrestrial communication. It'll more be a complement towards what we've already got in place, and also helpful in certain situations like disaster recovery. So as Vodacom, will be signing up partnerships with different potential operators of these systems, and it's probably going to be a multi-party partner ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Orion, and your voice was perfect right there. I'd like to now thank all of our leaders for taking their time to answer some of our questions right here. Unfortunately, time is of the essence, and we cannot take all of the questions that came through. But I'd like to send it back to you, Dayan, to give us your closing remarks.
Just to say loud and clear, there cannot be a technology town hall without having a technology glitches. So I think it's good stuff, keeping all of us somehow, abreast of the situation. Let me just say big thanks to everyone for all the hard work and efforts for this year. I think it was a tough year, and unfortunately, I don't see next year going to be much better, looking at the whole situation outside. I think we have achieved some significant milestones, and I'm really proud of what Group Technology has delivered. And again, tough environment, tough cookie, but strong delivery on all segments. I think we moved the needle very positively in, network, IT, cyber. Everything is nicely coming through. So my big ask is just please continue to push, please continue to work together as one tech team and make sure that, all of those activities are delivered, because that's going to, again, enable our team, our business to continue to win on the market. Now, I think, going into the new year, we must remain conscious of the financial constraints in a tough global economic environment. I think that's something new. It happened in 2022, and it's going to be with us also in the 2023. And please do everything to maximize the budget we do have to continue executing the Tech 2025 strategy. But usually see in the Q4, like in the last quarter, CapEx spend goes up like a hockey stick. Please utilize that now. Start working on that plan to execute, to spend, to book the CapEx now. Now, if ever, I think now is the time to share that challenge, or I call it a pain, with our vendors and suppliers. Meaning, use all means to run the most efficient processes with the most efficient resources and the most efficient partners and suppliers. Don't hold that pain only for you. Go out, ask supply chain, ask your superiors, let's go, let's re-challenge the whole contract, managed services, hardware, software supply, whatever these licenses, because if not, we will be in the position to pass that burden, that extra cost to our end customers. And that will actually deleverage our market competitiveness. And I think that's not the right thing to do. I think the right thing to do is that in tough times, we stick strong together as a team, including our partners, including our vendors, including our suppliers, to make sure that we continue to win, on the markets. With that said, I would also like to wish you, and that means all of you, including yourself, Lebo, safe and happy festive season. Saying work hard, play hard, or even play harder comes very handy. Please do enjoy the holiday spirits and play at your best. Happy holidays to each one of you, your families, your closest one. And I guess, we see you soon back in the 2023. The 30 days, the 1 month, the 4 weeks is going to be like this. And we're going to be back in Vodacom, back living our purpose together with Vodacom in Africa. Thank you, Lebo, and thank you everyone for joining today.
Thank you so
To the technology teams and the cybersecurity teams across Vodacom, have an amazing December break. Spend some time with your loved ones. Spend some time recuperating, a really well-deserved rest. Come back next year even more passionate and even more focused to drive this organization forward. Your job and your role is pivotal to what Vodacom has to achieve. So we're looking forward to achieving it with you next year.
We'd like to thank all the technical teams, local market, at the group level, and some of the other markets where we've been helped with things like the CSB, controls. So it definitely is one tech team. And I'd just like to extend my deepest of gratitude to everybody that's contributed to whatever achievements that we've been able to have during this period. So happy holidays to everybody, stay safe and be well.
We've done very well this year and achieved a lot. And I therefore want to say thank you to the ASOC team and also all the markets that we collaborate with for all the hard work. I think it was done in the spirit of one tech team. I think we've done a lot to be proud of. And you all deserve now a good time of rest with your friends and families. Please enjoy that. Please take care, look after yourselves, and looking forward to the new year and all the great projects that we are still planning to do together.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for all the hard work that you've put during this calendar year. I expect that we will continue pushing for more hard work and continue to serving our customers and ensuring best customer experience. I would also like to take this opportunity to wish you all the best for the coming year. Happy holidays.
I'm wishing you and your families a fantastic festive period, an exciting new year with even more greatness. Stay safe.
I would like to first and foremost say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Vodacom SA technology team for your hard work, your dedication, your innovation, and everything that you have done for us to achieve what we've achieved so far in the year. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please take the well-deserved rest as we break for festive season, and take care of yourself, take care of your families, take care of each other, and come back in the new year ready to finish the year on a high note.
I'd like to thank my team for all of their hard work and dedication. I'd like to thank all of the other group domains as well as all of the markets technology teams for their support during the year. I'd like to wish everybody a fantastic and a restful festive season and everything of the best for 2023.
I wish everyone a happy end to the year and hope you have some time with your family and your loved ones.
So I want to take this opportunity to thank our teams, thank their families for allowing them the time to spend on all of these initiatives that we are working on. Really excited to see you all coming back safely in the new year.
I want to take this time to thank everyone from Technology Group in Tanzania for a commendable job that they've done for this year. I also want to take this opportunity to wish everyone happy holidays. Take your time to go reset, relax, take time with family, and come back refreshed.
Thank you so much to the leaders, and thank you, Dayan. Thanks to you, also our amazing audience. Thank you for joining our virtual town hall. It's been a pleasing pleasure hosting you the whole year. But before we let you go, let's announce the competition winners. Replicate the picture winner is none other than Ghana Dube. Look at that. Even got a 2018 Russia World Cup ball. And then our second game was none other than the memory game. Here is our winner. Our winner for the memory game is Denim Hamsworth. Denim Hamsworth, congratulations to you. Quickest fingers and the best memory in the team. And then Bubble Shooter. Sure, this one was all exciting, trying to make sure, and the winner is Golekani Tipe. Congratulations to all our winners. Your prizes are on the way. Apologies for the time, but we were having fun, and time flies when you're doing so. Please be safe on the roads during the holiday season. Remind yourself, of using and adhering to the absolute rules wherever you go. But for me and the team, it's been a pleasing pleasure. Salani Gahle.